In my last video, I talked about finally stepping into Left 4 Dead 2, a world I missed because growing up I was strictly a Nintendo kid. But there's a reason I stayed in that ecosystem for so long. It wasn't just about the brand, it was about the roots. Before I dive further into the videos I plan to make, I just needed to stop at this bridge real quick. Because for me, The Wind Waker is a masterpiece of art. It was my first classroom. It was the game that taught me how to read, and it's the game I still think about when I look back on my life and all the things that I've accomplished. I remember being very young playing this game and hitting several walls. A puzzle or a line of dialogue I couldn't decode, and let alone the different kinds of monsters that I wasn't sure how to navigate around. I didn't want to skip any of this though. I wanted to know why I was sailing. So, I'd simply wait. My grandmother worked late shifts, and I'd wait for her to walk through the door. In a dark room lit only by the glow of the TV, she'd sit down, still tired, and become my co-pilot. She'd walk me through the words syllable by syllable. Wind Waker and its remarkable ability to pull you into an atmosphere sparked the biggest curiosity in me at that age, because there was a world on the other side of those words that I desperately wanted to understand. That's where the game stops being only a form of storytelling and entertainment and starts being more like a mirror. In the beginning, Link's grandma equips him. She gives him the green hero's clothes. I think about that departure every time I think about things like leaving for college and really just leaving home as a whole, whether I would have gone to college or not. Life away from your family, the ones you've spent the first third of your life with, is your own form of a great sea. You're sailing away from the shore of everything you know, equipped with the tools your family gave you. My grandmother's number one goal for me, that horizon she wanted to see me reach, was my graduation. She wanted to see the kid she taught to read finally learn to master the book. But Wind Waker has a secondary theme that is much harsher. You can't stop the coming tide. Halfway through the game, you return home and find your grandmother isn't the same. She's fading. She's waiting for you. But the world is moving on. In my own life, I hit a horizon I wasn't ready for. My grandma succumbed to breast cancer before she could see me graduate. It's a strange, hollow feeling to reach the goal someone set for you, only to realize they aren't on the pier waving back anymore. In the game's finale, the old world, Hyrule, is washed away forever. It's a moment of steep finality. Link realizes that he's not just saving the old world, he's tasked with building a new one without the people who started him on the journey. It's hard to reconcile the game's happy ending with reality. In The Wind Waker, you at least get a moment of closure. You can heal her with the fairy, she sees you off again at the end, and the loop is closed. In life, though, at least for me, that loop stays open. My grandma didn't get to see the end of the story that she helped create. But here's what I realized. The end of the story wasn't the graduation. The graduation was just the beginning of the next one. In the game, your grandma's job isn't to defeat Ganondorf. It's not to go on this maiden voyage, and it's not even to save your sister Errol. Her job is to give you the shield and the language you need to face him yourself. When I stood on that stage, I realized that even though she wasn't there to see the result, she had already finished her masterpiece. The fact that I was standing there at all, literate, driven, and capable of navigating that sea, was proof of her success. She didn't see the end of my journey because her role was to be the beginning. She wasn't on the pier to see who I became, but she's the reason the wind was in my sails in the first place. People always said this game looked kiddie and didn't want to buy it because it was such a graphically different game from the Zeldas that came before. But 20 years later, it hasn't aged a day. And I think that that's because the emotions behind it are so adult in nature. It's a story about the cost of moving forward. We don't look back at these games just to be kids again. We look back to remember the people who sat beside us while we played. I look back to remember the woman who came home late from work just to help me understand a text box. That's my connection to the Great Sea. It's the bridge between the kid who couldn't read and the man who graduated into a world she helped him build. But what about you? Is there a game that aligns with your own growing up moments? A game that reminds you of someone who maybe isn't on the pier anymore? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories about how games have impacted your life. Next time, we're heading into Windrose. We're taking that shield, those lessons, and heading directly into the wild archipelago. I'll see you guys on the next horizon.